Catflap Chats. We are back. I'm excited where this one's going to go, actually. So I've got Mason Jones, UFC, Wales' newest UFC star, the Dragon. Welcome to Catflap Chats, mate. How are you?
Tired.
What time in the morning is it there?
10 to 7. So nice and early.
In the morning.
Yeah. Nice and early, yeah. So I'm normally up at 6 going for a walk. And I like to go for a walk, try and wake myself up properly. And then while everyone else is sleeping in the apartment, I speak to people back home, my girlfriend or one of the boys normally. Normally just try and, obviously because the time difference is only a certain time I can talk to them before they go to sleep. So I normally try and get in as much as I can. But yeah, this morning wasn't a good one. I ended up getting up a little bit late, speaking to one of my coaches back home, sorting some stuff out with him and different things. And then I thought I missed the interview, so I come rushing out. I was early. So good.
Yeah, all good. You were early, pal. 10 minutes early. So where for people listening, like, I normally have a beer with everyone, but I know you don't drink, and also I'm about to go and play golf later, so I can't be having a beer before getting up there. So I'm gonna have a squash. But where are you at the moment then? You're in camp, aren't you? Ready for the next fight?
Yeah, I haven't like well, yeah, I probably, yeah, let's say we started. Yeah. I'm in Sacramento in California, Team Alpha Male. I've started doing my camps up here mainly just because the sparring partners, like I have good coaching back home, really good coaching. It's just sparring partners I struggle with. I struggle with sparring partners all the way through my career though. Even when I was pro boxing, I struggled with good sparring partners all the way up. I did a lot of sparring on St. Joe's and I get a lot of boxing sparring in St. Joe's, but it's just hard. Like people are either they retire on you, which happened with me with Jamie Cox. I had a good sparring partner in Jamie Cox, and he retired and it's not coming up so much, and then different things. So it's just hard. MMA was the same. Like it's just hard to find people who take it seriously, as a professional serious, and they're on the level. Whereas out here, like there's so many good boys, so many, and like it's turned into a bit of a featherweight lightweight camp. To be fair, like there's a lot of really good lightweights and featherweights here. Some really good welterweights. So for me, it's just you get a good balance of everything. It's really good.
Is it like, so I've seen Kingdom, I'm sure you've seen it on Netflix. Have you seen that, the MMA program?
My parents watched it. I can't watch it. I cringe too much. But like, my parents
as a casual, I loved it. Like it had enough of that like fighting where, for me, like I've had a couple of white collars. I am by no means a fighter by any stretch, but I appreciate what you might go through and knowing like Joey Cordina and people, like I do appreciate what you guys go through. It had enough of that in there, but enough of like a storyline and shagging and all this other stuff, like where it just kept me interested. I've been to Venice Beach as well, so I was like, it's fucking cool, you know. But I can imagine to a fighter, it's fucking rubbish. Like, what is it like when you're out there in someone else's gym? You're English, you're not English, you're British.
Welsh.
Sorry,
fuck
Welsh.
You.
No, I'm English. You're Welsh, British. You're going over, and what's it like when you're stepping into someone else's gym like that?
To be fair, yeah, they're really good. They are really good. That's one of the reasons I get on with them so well, is because there's a lot of really good boys here. Like first time I come over here was 2018, I think. 2019. And yeah, they're good as gold. Obviously the UFC level pros, they'll just refuse to train you at the start, which is smart considering you get people who out the bag come out here with just the interest of trying to prove they're the big man.
Yeah.
And it's just an easy way to get injured. But to be fair, they welcomed me in really quick. It only took a couple of sessions, and they were happy to have me here. And now I basically am included as one of the teams. So yeah, I get looked after out here, and people are always interested in helping, and I get good coaching, and I still get good coaching back home. Like I said, it's just hard for sparring partners. Like the dream is to be able to get my coaches out here for my camps and be able to do mobile camps. Like for me, like the end goal isn't sort of just training Team Alpha Male. Like the end goal for me is to be able to just take a camp and put it anywhere in the world. So like if I'm fighting in Dubai, we do 8 weeks in Dubai. I can just bring in sparring partners from here or from wherever, take my coaches and some of the other coaches and just plop them down and do a camp there. Like that is the end goal for me. But yeah, we'll see how it works out. It's going well so far.
Do you reckon you got accepted a bit quicker than others might have been because you're a 2-weight Cage Warriors champion and they'd have known that as well, so you're not going in fresh?
I wasn't 2-weight Cage Warriors champ when I turned up. Yeah, it was 2018, 2019. I got here, didn't I? So
okay.
I think when I first come here, it was before the Desme fight. Was it? Or that'd be maybe my second trip out. That was my second trip out. So my first trip was a couple months before that. So I don't know who I fought before Desme. I can't remember. Casper, I think, for better. Ugh. But yeah, that was my first one. And yeah, I don't know. I'm just a friendly person. Do you know what I mean? I always made an effort to talk to all the boys, introduce myself. Made an effort just to show my face in the gym and just trained hard. And like I had the ability, and I wasn't a dick, and that really helps because like if you're a dick out, you get flattened really soon. Like I've seen it. There was a guy, a welterweight American who come down. I don't know where he come from, some state, and he was sparring on the spar days. He's sparring with a lot of the lighter boys, and he was just literally just trying to knock them all out. So they literally just give one of the Brazilians a tap. Was really good. He's like a Muay Thai world champion. I sparred him yesterday, actually. I love sparring with him. And said, sort of like spoke to Fabio, who's the Brazilian coach, and said, can you deal with that? And he literally just mentioned something to the Brazilian. He just nodded, went with him. I just fucking flatlined this guy, like beat the fuck out of him. And when the boy couldn't get up, just couldn't get up. He was a big boy. He was like a welterweight, middleweight, like he was a massive guy. And when he couldn't get up in the end, they were like, if you can't get up, drag yourself off to the side. He said, you still got that attitude, just fuck off. And it was like the guy just wouldn't say anything, just fucking crawled off. I never seen him come back. So it's like,
wow.
You know what I mean? It's like it's this isn't the gym for that sort of thing. Like if you come out and you're being a dick and you're trying to injure people, then there's no room for it. There's just not.
Yeah.
Like even now, there's still boys here sometimes. Like you'll get one or two who they got egos that just can't handle sparring. Like if you get like we spoke about it last night, actually was mentioning it. Like remember one of the times I sparring out here, Feely. It was before, I think we both had fights coming up. It was before he knocked if he fought a Brazilian Muay Thai guy, and he knocked him out with a 1-2 head kick, wobbled him, folded up. And then we were sparring, and it was one of the first times I'd sparred with Feely where I thought I was starting to get on top of him a bit. And I'm thinking, I'm doing well, yeah. And I was calf kicking him, I was catching him. He was beating me to the jab, but I was catching a lot of different things. I was thinking, I'm doing well. I was thinking I'm starting the thing. And then he hit me with a 1-2 head kick. And I remember his foot just clattering off my neck. And I went stiff for a second, and one of the coaches like held me up and was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." I was like, "I just fucking my one leg went stiff," and he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and I was just laughing. And that was like that was a good couple of years ago. That's how it was. But I always laugh about it because like we talked about it afterwards, and I was laughing. He was like, "Mate, I'm sorry." And I was like, "No." I was like, "It's a fucking clean kick. Like I didn't go down or anything. I just fucking had a bit of a wobble on standing up."
Yeah.
We was laughing because like a couple of weeks after that, he knocks the guy out with the same combo. I'm like, I don't feel too bad now. But the level out there is phenomenal, and like people like Andre, Chris Gonzalez, Darren Elkins, there's Max Griffin, Slava, who fights in LFA. Like there's phenomenal amounts of guys, like lightweights, welterweights, featherweights, phenomenal. Yeah. I know there's some boys who's trained here before. Like I got to train with Tawfiq. I can't say his second name, but he was the risen lightweight champion. And then he's just lost the risen lightweight championship. So he was out here before. He's on about coming out again. And like he's another really good sparring partner to have. So it's just getting better, always getting better.
Sounds classic. I love that gym atmosphere and that environment where there's no like hierarchy of like, the youngers have got to like, don't talk to them or whatever. It's if you come in, work hard, you're not a dick, we'll respect you. The minute you start going over there, there is always someone, and this is true in life, there's always someone bigger and harder who's happy just to teach you a lesson, whether you deserve it or not. Like there's always someone there who wants to go for it.
So there was, I come out here, I don't know when it was. I think it was like my second or third trip. I think it might be my third. I come out here with one of the younger boys from back home. Ellis, who's a beast. He's training with a locket at the moment. We're working hard. So I come out here with him. I give him a place to stay, and my girlfriend come out with us as well. And I remember we was at the gym the once, and there was these two Russian brothers, and they turned up. And this was before he was fighting Desme, and one of them had fought Desme before, and he'd beat him on a unanimous decision, but it was a close decision. Yeah. And he knew I was fighting him, and they started they was whispering to each other and stuff before the class started, and then they started they made a couple of quick jabs at me, like different things. I just laughed it off, and then they started saying stuff to my missus, and like anyone who's met my missus, she's well, it's not a completely different. She's harder than me. Like she's not she's not genuine. She's not more people out than I have. Her kicking's phenomenal. So like anything like that in the circumstance, I just leave her to it. And they were saying stuff to her and like looking at me, and it was like stuff that was sort of on the line. And then like waiting to see how he'd react. I think they wanted to see if they could get a rise out of me, and I just didn't react to anything. I was like, I was like, they're looking for a problem. Like, my missus was just ripping fucking holes out of them back, and they were like just really surprised. Russians, man. And then one of them was like, "Oh, do you want first for the sparring?" So like, yeah. I was like, "We go first, no problem." So Danny Castillo starts the practice off because he's taking it, and starts warming us all up, and then. Like spa days, you're mainly supposed to do your own warm up, but then they'll do a little bit still. And then he was like, right, go grab your first sparring partner, and then we'll do some drills before we go. So I remember it was just 1-for-1 drill. So you literally just supposed to like throw a combo at the one person, and then they're supposed to check it and return. And then they throw a combo and same sort of thing. And I remember like the first thing this guy threw, he was just fucking literally just clattered me in the ribs as hard as he could, like through a combo, and you could tell he was just digging. I was like, oh, it's gonna be one of these today. So I just played along with him, kept at the same level as him. And as soon as we started sparring, I just kicked him as hard as I could. Just kicked him hard straight off. I just calf kicked him as hard as I could, like chopped his foot. And every couple of seconds, I just chop hard into this heel. Kept chopping his leg. And I always kick the calf, so I always aim for the Achilles tendon. So you only take two and the leg's fine. So I chopped him. Well, I had only just. Because I was back then when I fought Desme, I was bouncing from fight to fight. Like I do one fight and I jump straight back in the camp and I look to fight again. Like I think I did 5 fights within like a 12 or 13 month period, and I was going to push for another one when 6. I did 6 fights in like a 13-month period, and I was going to push for a 7th, and that was when I decided to take one off for it because the injury started getting a bit on top of me. Yeah. Well, I just started smashing this boy's foot. And like I mixed it up with the hands, we'd hit him with some good shots, we'd have good exchange. I just smashed his foot, and I remember by the end of it, he couldn't even put weight on his leg, like he just couldn't stand up. Fuck. And at the end of it, like my foot was swollen again because obviously I'd just been battering it. But he actually walked off. Like by the end of the sparring round, he actually had to go on the side and sit down because I leg kicked him that much he couldn't put any weight to his leg. And I remember his brother turned around to me at the end of practice. So I did a couple of rounds with different people after that. And he just didn't want to know. And I remember his brother coming up to me because they had to literally limp. He had to limp out of the session because he couldn't put any weight to his foot. And his brother said to me, "Oh, you spar too hard." And I remember like me, Ellis, I was waving mad, all just burst out laughing at him as if like you're. And I just laughed and said, "Mate," I said, "I'll just do whatever someone else leads." I was like, "You want to be a dick?" I said, "We can be dicks." And they just looked at me, and then that was it. I never actually seen him again. I know they train out in Dustin Poirier's camp now. They do a lot with Dustin and stuff, but they just hype chasers. The two brothers are. They like, I had bad vibes off them straight away. They just two people who they'll just chase from gym to gym, looking for sort of they're trying to gain UFC off someone else's back rather than off their own back. And I don't think either of them been signed yet. I think the one brother has been because he was good, like he was undefeated, but he was fighting on shit promotions all the time. It's just like if you don't fight midget people, you're a waste of fucking time.
I'd love to be that hard and that confident, just to be like, "Come on, boy, let's step in, fucking let's go." Because I'd fucking.
Mate, I've never been afraid of a brawl. Like I remember when I started boxing, when we first went pro, like I had no amateur experience. I had kickboxing experience, but like I really had to learn to improve my hands. And my boxing coach used to find it fucking hilarious. I remember we went to Tony's, and Tony is a really good friend of mine now. He always was. He's always fucking so good to me. So good with Lyndon. He's awesome. Tony Borg,
Tony
awesome
Borg,
legend.
yeah.
And I remember we sparred the first time. He's like, and he turned around. He's like, mate, he's like, you really should think about going back amateur. And we just laughed. He's like, oh, we just got a bit of hard work to go to. And we kept coming down. And then I remember he said to me a couple of years ago, he said, oh, like, considering how you was when you first stepped in the gym to how you are now, he said the difference is amazing. Like, but like I've never been afraid of a brawl, like ever. I was doing camps in London when I was boxing, and there was a Turkish boy there, and that was the same. Like I went down there with no pro boxing experience, no amateur boxing experience, and their answer to it was, "Oh, we'll just smash him up until there's nothing left, and just keep smashing him until he'll just go away, like he won't handle it."
Yeah.
And this Turk was undefeated, and I sat in his chest for the entire time. And I broke him by the end of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's one thing I've never been afraid of. I've never been afraid of a fight. Like, this is the thing that surprised people. Like, when I was younger, like, we used to go out, we were scrapping every weekend. Like, from the time I was 17, we'd go out, we'd scrap every weekend. Didn't matter.
Because you don't drink. So is that like on a Saturday night, or is that just you and your mates would like set up boxing or whatever? Like,
no, I mean on Saturday night. So I never really drunk. I was always the one driving, but
yeah.
It was just like at the time we was going out, we, like as a group, we all used to look after each other, and we started going out. So we used to have our places we used to go, and then when that started to change, and everyone started going over to Courtyard when I was 17, 18, maybe a bit older than 19. There was a load of new boys over there who weren't really happy with us moving over and starting going out in there. And we just used to fight all the time. I remember we had this massive brawl in Newport in the end. It was literally like 30 or 40 of us fighting about 30 or 40 Newport boys in the middle of Newport, like opposite the train station. It was like me. I remember there was two of the boxers from the gym. One of them was pro, one of them was not. A load of my friends, a load of the Pontypool boys, a load of the True Wrestling boys, like, because we always look after each other, because that was the difference really. It was because we were going out and we were all from small towns, we all just made sure we looked after each other. And that was the reason I used to fight all the time, because I used to look after my friends. So like one of my friends again in an argument and stuff, I'd end up trying to defuse the situation, and a lot of time trying to be nice and defuse the situation is the worst thing you can do. It's better off just to go in with aggression and sort of frighten people, because a lot of people, especially if they're drunk, they handle aggression better than they handle someone trying to be nice. So it just then end up where like one of the boys then end up fighting, and it's never fair. Like fights on a night out, it's never fair. It's never like a one-on-one scrap. It's usually like two boys who jump on your buddy, and then you go flying in and sort of end up throwing some bombs and then getting dragged out. But like I said, it's a different world. Like, you can't do that this day. Like you end up, if you go out now and you scrap, like someone's calling the police and someone's putting a police report in. And like I know a lot of the clubs now, if they catch you scrapping inside and it's on CCTV, I know a lot of the time they have to send it to the police. They have to send the footage as part of their licensing.
And you ban from everywhere then, and you.
Well, it ain't so much the banning, it's the police report you get at the end. Like no one wants a police report. You don't want to be again on record for different things. So like got away with so many things younger, and I can't imagine the stuff that probably people like my old man and stuff would have got away with when he was younger. again. Because like you've seen some of the states he'd come when I was a kid, the states they come back from a night out is completely different. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I was never a drinker. I just made sure that the boys were safe. And kept the idiots out of trouble. But just
I reckon with your old
can't.
I reckon with your old man though, and back then, like the difference between then and now is that if you had a clip with someone back then, it was probably done and dusted. You respect each other, and that's it. Nowadays, there's fucking grudges and knives, and there's all sorts. You just don't know what someone's carrying or what someone's intentions are, and it's just not worth it now, like.
Well, I would say where I'm from isn't too bad, but then I know two people around my meals being stabbed. One was he got stabbed at 14 outside a youth club in Blaenavon, and that was a boy from Newport moved down and stabbed him. And then another one of my friends who was wild anyway, was just involved in the wrong sort of things, and one of the boys had a problem with stabbed him. So there's no messing around with stuff like that. But
no.
I always laugh because my girlfriend, so she was training out of Nottingham, So she was studying in Nottingham in the GB Taekwondo team, training up there. And like the stories she's told me about up there, like about like where she stayed, and like she said like the part of Nottingham she was staying in. She didn't tell me what it was called. It'll take me a while for it to come around. Remember what she said, but they literally said like they'd be people would just go knock doors, and as they answer the door, they just shoot them in the face.
What?
Just knock the door, wait for them to answer the door, and just shoot them in the face. Yeah, shot them. One of the bet. So it was just. She said like there was stabbings, shootings. He said like it's ridiculous. Like there was drive-bys, all different things in the city in England.
That's not like.
Stay a minute. I'll tell you what.
No worries. Yeah, go on.
Where'd she stay?
It's not a life to live, is it?
No, I haven't got it down. Sorry, I had it written down.
Oh no, it's right, boy. Sorry. That's
yeah,
why
so
I like Berserk.
Them though, but obviously shot them in a.
Yeah, brown bread. That's fucking like I'm too soft for any of that life. Like, you know, I'd happily. I haven't boxed now for a couple of years. I tore my biceps and that, but I'd happily step in a ring now and spar with someone as long as it. But I'm one of those people. If I caught, I'm a big guy, so I'm about 18, 19 stone. So if I caught someone and you could see it, I'd step off and go, "You're right, everything cool."
Yeah, the right way to do.
Yeah, because I was always learning. I remember the first time I ever stepped in a ring. You know Darren Wilson, he was doing like the white helping out with the white collars and that. And I got in with this guy who was like an MMA fighter. He had 5 or 6 fights apparently. He just stood like this. He whaps, takes my nose clean off. I'd never stepped in a ring before. And I was like, wow, like I played rugby and I can take a bit of damage, but at that point I didn't know whether to stand back up or not. Genuinely, I was 29, and I'd had a couple of scraps in town, but it's nothing to be big or proud of. Like, as you know, like you said, you know, you just can't do it now. But I stood back up and I was like, fuck it. You know, go on, get through this one round and you'll be all right after that. And like, there is something liberating about being hit and just going, it didn't really hurt. Like, it's okay. I mean, the state of your face after a couple of fights I've seen, like, that's different level. And the fact you still walk people down, despite your eye being out here, and like, that is a mindset. It's a mindset, like.
Most of the times I've been cutting stuff in fights, it's just doing something fucking stupid. So like I fought what's his name? Alexei Mandakivi. Mandakivi had this reputation as a big power puncher. And they said, and so we did loads of stuff of just like the same way I fought Desme, same way as I fought my last fight. I just sort of like staying just out of range, drawing him in, catching him and just staying active. And I remember he threw a shot and I blocked it. And I thought, man, there's not really much power there. So I started pushing forward, started like caught him with some good shots and thought, I'm going to TKO him here. And then I remember like I managed to push through. And as I sort of circled back round, I could see like blood dripping down. And I thought, what the fuck's that? When I looked, he cut me twice. And it wasn't even big shots. It's the glances in MMA gloves are the worst. Yeah. The shots that don't hit you, the shots that just rip. Yeah. And then because I was pushing him on the back foot, because I nearly rocked him so many times, he just caught me with some shots and they just managed to glance with enough force that it cut my eye twice. So I was like, oh shit. As soon as you see blood, it's never a good thing because you think if I'm going to cut and they drag it open more, I'm in a bad place. So I remember I just took him down, controlled him, and then I come back in the corner. I was like, how bad's it? And he was like, it's not too bad, but you need to look after it. He said, just take him down and control him. So I come back out, threw a couple of shots, took him down, and did that for the rest of the round, tried to finish him. But yeah, it's all fun and games until you get cut, and then it's just like, oh, for Christ's sake. Like, I don't mind the swelling because I got one of them faces where I just bruise a lot. I do bruise a lot. But cuts are a nightmare. But yeah, no fun. I remember I got elbowed the once with a 12-6 from the boy's back, and it was the only shot he hit me with in the fight. That was Craig Edwards. Big shout out because he's a nice guy. But he hit me with a 12-6 off his back. So on the 12-6 rules, down is illegal, but if you're anywhere else, so if you come forwards, is all fine. Yeah. So as long as it's not from the clock is 12
top to bottom,
the cage, you can come any other direction. So as I took him down, I caught his kick and followed him down. He threw one off his back. I just literally just fucking blew my cheek open. And that was probably one of the worst cuts I've had in a fight because it took a while to heal. I think they could have put another stitch in. But the only reason I say it's the worst is because still now, whenever I start getting like really warm, I get really red in the face. You'll see it, whereas the others are all healed. So
Yeah.
caught me with a big gun.
It's mate, what a life like. It's completely different to most people. Like, it'd be fascinating for people who watch UFC but have never fought before to listen to this. Like, like you talk me through. Obviously, what were you like 10 or 11 fights undefeated with Cage Warriors, and multiple titles out. Just talk us through that journey of, because kickboxing, then pro boxing, then into Cage Warriors. Give me a real quick sort of journey on how that came about and why that journey through to the end of Cage Warriors.
Yeah, so like my family always get they always put my brothers and stuff in the football. That was the way they did. They pushed into football and different things. And I remember like all my friends in school was playing football, and I played football. And like we're talking primary school age, like I was 5 or 6, and I just was no good. Just couldn't kick a ball, couldn't do anything. Was just embarrassing to watch. Just too rough. Just slide tackling people loads. And I always struggled with my temperament for different things. Like my parents have told me before. Like even when I was a really small baby. Like from the I was a wild little kid. So like from the time I had teeth, they used to call me Houdini because they said like whenever they put me in like a child's car seat, like the ones that are supposed to stop and get out. They said within 30 seconds I'd be out, trying to crawl along the back seats, trying to crawl after my brother, and I just bite chunks out of my older brother for no reason. Just when I was a toddler, I just bite him until he bled, and like that was just me. I was just an angry little kid. They couldn't take me out for food because I'd always be trying to stand on top of the tables and scream and different things, and like I was a terror. I just always had one of those temperaments. I just was just uncontrollably angry all the time. And then they never really found me anything that sort of worked and different things. And they ended up taking me to a kickboxing class when I was 7, because that's all I used to say was I wanted to be a fighter. I wanted to do something to do with fighting, or I wanted to be in the army, and I'd be running around trying to shoot people, or I'd be running around with a sword trying to stab people and different things. So they took me to first of all they took me to an old grappling hall in town, and that was Carl Parker's gym, who was the wrestling coach at Theory Combat, and they only took adults. So they said, look, bring him back when he's 15 or 16, and we'll do something with him. But at the minute he's too young. So obviously I was what, 10 years away. So we found a kickboxing gym in Brimhow, I think, and I went over there and loved it. And then soon I was going like twice a week. Then within a 6-month period, I was probably going 3 times a week. And then it just built up and up and up until I was training with them like twice a day. Most days I go from school, train at one class. And then one of Adam's Grant would take us from there to another class, and we'd do that and different things. And I just loved it. So I started kickboxing. Then I kept saying I want to be in the army for different things. But I'm colorblind, so that was always a no-brainer. And then I remember all the boys were training for something called MMA. They were doing they would do different sessions, all geared towards like mixed martial arts. And they all started talking about UFC. My dad started showing me stuff about the UFC and stuff, and like Pride, and I just fell in love with it. And like that was what I wanted to do. And I remember my dad saying the once, look, there's a judo club that's just opened up in town. Why don't you go to that as well? And I was like, oh, look, I don't need to do that. I was like, we do all the stuff in the self-defense stuff I do. I was like, the sessions, the kickboxing gym and the self-defense stuff they do. I was like, I don't need to do it, because they did like traditional jiu-jitsu at the club as well. And he was like, no, he's like, look, if you want to be good, he's like, you need to try different things, like go to the judo club. So he took me there at about either 11 or 12. I always get the time scales wrong on this. I think I was about 10 or 11, probably 10. Took me to this judo club, and I started doing judo with them. And then I remember going to a judo competition and realizing like how much harder judo was than anything I'd done before. Like I'd done like grappling tournaments, I'd done kickboxing tournaments, I'd done like Kumite jiu-jitsu competitions, and like judo was another level. Like it was taken so much more seriously, and like there was so many more boys competing. And like the local scenes I was winning, but as soon as I started going like the Welsh level, like I was just nowhere near good enough. So I started doing well. I think I won the Welsh closed, did well in the Welsh Open. I think I probably won the Welsh Open on my weight. And then I started training down with the Welsh squad, and really realised I wasn't good enough. Started training with them a lot more. I was when Neil Adams was the coach. And then Neil left, kept training with them. And then I started going away competing with the Welsh team. We compete in different teams around different competitions around England, bits of France, different things like that. As we go on, I kept competing in different things. And then by the time I was like 14, 15, probably 15, they would take me out of school. I'd leave school on a Thursday. And then Friday we go away and compete. Or I'd be like going straight from school. I go home. My dad would drive me straight to Cardiff. I train after school in the gym in Cardiff in the Welsh Centre. And then I was just kept getting better. I qualified for the GB team. Never qualified for the actual GB team, but I qualified to train with the GB team. They were quite clicky. Like you needed to be down in the centre. You had to be living down there full time and different things. And like that never really interested me. Like I was always still wanted to do my MMA. But like I competed all over Europe. We traveled extensively, competed different places like Croatia, Poland, Netherlands, Germany, Turkey. God, where else? Everywhere in Europe. We went everywhere and competed, like loads. And I trained flat out with them. And then when I was 14, 15, my judo coach brought in a BJJ team, BJJ sessions, the judo team, to try and improve our Newas, our ground games. And I started doing jiu-jitsu, and because I'd done the grappling stuff, the traditional jiu-jitsu stuff before, I just really had a good ground game. So I loved that. Started doing that as well. So I was doing kickboxing, I was doing judo, and I was doing the traditional jiu-jitsu stuff and BJJ. 4 different things. Like I was training basically like a pro now. I was training twice every day basically. I go home, I leave school on weekends and we compete with the judo, and then every day in the week I train as much as possible. By the time I was 16, then after I left school, I was living in Cardiff Monday through to Thursday, and we train with a full-time centre, the Welsh centre down there. We train 3 times a day, and then I go home on a Thursday afternoon after practice, and then Friday I do some stuff with my own coaches back home, and then I do the kickboxing stuff, and I train with the MMA team over the weekend. Oh,
thing is, at that point, like that's so flat out. What do you do to like wind down from it all? Because you can't be on edge like that every day. Like I don't know, it can't be healthy, surely.
So judo would get too much. The judo would get too much, but then they break it up with jiu-jitsu sessions, and that would help me sort of split it up a bit. And then when I went home, like the kickboxing, the MMA sessions, they were my sort of time off. Like that was what I enjoyed doing.
Okay.
And like that was just me. Like that's why I like mixed martial arts. There's always something different to do. Like if like out here, like if I'm focusing on my wrestling, and the wrestling's really getting to the point where like, because I'm training with D1 level wrestlers, which is Division 1, so that's like the best of the US. Do you know what I mean? Like they were in the one of the boys I wrestled with was in the US Olympic team for wrestling, and like if like I'm wrestling against him and obviously losing, and that's scaring me down, I'll just go do some striking. Like that's why I like MMA. I like the mix. But so after the judo, when I was getting ready to leave the judo, I started doing a bit of Muay Thai on the weekends when I was back. When I was on the full-time centre, and I was boxing as well, just to improve my hands, just once a week. And then I had an injury, which meant that I had to decide if I was done with judo or not, come out a bit earlier. Because I was starting to do okay at judo. It wasn't something I loved. Like I never loved judo. I just did it because it was good for me, and it was what I needed to do. And the level was so much better than everyone else. But I never really fell in love with the sport. I used to hate it more than anything, because I was just never naturally good at it. I had to force everything. Whereas like everything else I'd always found things like I was just good at things. Whereas judo I never really was. But I think I just put so much pressure on myself. And then I ended up doing more boxing, more Thai boxing, more everything else. And when I left, I didn't want to go straight back into MMA because I was still young. I think I was like 21. I didn't want to jump straight back into MMA. I thought, I need a couple of years. Like I was slow developing anyway. So I still hadn't started to fill out properly. So it's like, look, there's no point rushing yet. And like none of the IMAF stuff was around then. So like I guess some shit amateur fights, which I didn't really rate. So it's like, I could do with improving my hands a bit more. So my boxing coach I'd been seeing, I went and spoke to him and was like, oh, can I amateur box under you? And he was like, yeah, of course you can. I was like, I just want to fight really regularly. Like I want to be fighting a lot. Yeah, we'll sort it. And then they brought in these bands, whereas if you had done something before, whereas obviously years of kickboxing, different things, then if you tried to box, they wouldn't know your box experience because you didn't have the boxing fights. But then if you fought at novices, then they give you a ban. So it's like, well, what am I supposed to do? And we applied with them all, and they was like, oh no, like you need to take like a year ban. I was like, I'm not taking a year ban considering like I'm on a time frame. So my coach was like, oh, why don't you just go pro? So I was like, yeah, why don't we then? So the next day, I booked a train to London, made a call to one of my friends who was boxing and called his manager in London, went down and met him the next day, signed a pro boxing contract with him, went home, went back to my coach, was like, oh, I just signed a pro boxing contract. And he just laughed and was like, here we go then. So I had no amateur boxing experience, no pro boxing experience. And we started training full time. And then like I love boxing. I did really enjoy it. I still prefer to be able to throw some kicks, but and some knees and elbows, obviously, as well as mix everything else in. But I love throwing my hands. And the only thing with boxing was it's so they just treat you like so much. They treat you like shit. Like I remember I sold like £5,000 or £6,000 worth of tickets for a show in Cardiff, and they didn't even have the decency to tell me the show was cancelled. One of my friends gave me a call, who's a boxing reporter, and he was like, oh, how are you feeling? I was like, good, yeah. I was like, my weight's moving well, like I'll be fine for weigh-ins. He's like, no, he's like, they've cancelled the show. I was like, oh, I'll call you back. And then I rang my manager, going fucking mental. He was like, Mace, I honestly didn't know. He's like, none of them spoke to me. He was like, just relax. He was like, I'll get it sorted. And then he rang me like a few days later and he was like, they're just not answering the phone to me. He said they've released the official release, but they just not answering the phone to him. And then they spoke to him, like they rang him like 2 weeks later and was like, oh, tell him to keep all the money for the tickets he sold. Because like my manager was like, he sold like $7,000 worth of tickets to you. And they were like, oh, that's awesome. Tell him just to keep the money and tell people to keep the tickets, and we'll rebook the show for a couple of months' time and they can just have it. I was like, mate, like I was like, I'm already giving everyone's money back. I was like, it doesn't fucking work like that. I was like, they just don't care. They genuinely do not care. It's just all about like their own fighters and different things, and who they see as they can make the most money out of, and like people who can like, even like I always got told, if you can sell 100 tickets, they can get you fights. So I was selling way more than that, and like people just didn't want to know. And I struggled with so many like boxing fights being cancelled that it just did my head in. So I ended up going back into MMA early, which again worked out better for me because I ended up catching the right time. And I got my debut was supposed to be on the first safe MMA recognized card. So I had to redo my medicals for it and all, and repay for brain scans, different things. And then obviously my first opponent failed his brain scans. My second opponent failed his eye test. So they were calling me the boogeyman. They said, because I remember I spoke to Shaky, who was Jack Shaw's dad, because he was running the Cage Warriors Wales cards at the time. And I said, look, I'm ready to go back to MMA. He said, perfect. Yeah, this is the date. This is what you need to do. He's like, I'll get you safe MMA recognized. He said, I know you're more than good enough to fight. He said, I'll get you on the card. And he said, look, I'll guarantee you, I know you had a lot of problems with boxing fights cancelled. He said, I'll guarantee you, he said, that I'll get you an opponent, I'll get you a fight. And then my first opponent failed his brain scans, my second failed his eye test. And he was like, mate, I'm trying, I'm really struggling. He said, would you be up and taking a unified amateur fight? And I said, well, it's not what I want. I said, but I'll take it. So he got me a unified amateur fight on like 3 days notice. And I smashed the guy up, moored him in the first round. And then that was my pro run then, started my pro run. And it was just more sort of just trying to catch up. Like I fought once, then I tried to fight again before the end of the year. Cage Warriors offered me a 5-fight contract straight away after my debut. And I said, look, I want to sign, but I want to fight for the end of the year. And the only card you have is in Denmark or the Netherlands, wherever it was. And I was like, you're telling me there's no room on that card, but I need to fight for the end of the year. And they said, look, fight off promotion, fight for a different promotion, and after that fight's done, yeah, your contract will start from there, wouldn't it? Sorry, I thought I was going to sneeze. Your contract will start from there. So I fought on Adrenaline in Swansea, and then went back and fought all the rest of my fights on Cage Warriors, and obviously a hell of a run all the way up. I did the 6 fights in the 12-month period or 40-month period. Really pushed it, and then I was supposed to fight on the Cage Warriors 100 card, which would have been my 7th fight in about 15 months, and it was just a bad fight for me. Like I was having problems with a couple of different things, and it was like they were going to give me a big test. It's like, you don't, like, I was already struggling with different things, so like, oh, I'm going to miss it. So I skipped the 100 card, and it worked out better for me because, you know what I mean, if I'd fought on that, then there would have been a chance they would have given me a top tier opponent that I would have been injured for, and I would have been in a good state. So I made a smart decision, and then obviously ended up making my run to the title fight, fighting Joe McColgan during COVID, the lightweight title, and stopping him in 1 round. Joe McColgan, well, 1 round, he stopped him with 3.5, 4 minutes. Joe McColgan just won the Cage Warriors lightweight title now.
Yeah.
He stopped the guy in 1 round. And then after that, they were trying to find a fight for me. And it was there was no one really at the time at lightweight who was sort of next in line. Like after I fought, like one of the guys who was on a tier, Desme, beat the other contenders, but I'd already beat Desme, and they didn't really see the need in me matching him again, because after I'd only beat him like 2 fights before, and then he had like beat someone who was supposed to be Tim Barnett, who was supposed to be making his run towards the belt. Then he beat someone else, knocked someone else out. It was supposed to be one of the ones on the tier. A couple of ones who were sort of I'd looked at before when I was coming through had sort of died off. So there was no one really there. So we didn't really know who they was going to give me. It looked like they was going to bring in like an ex-UFC veteran or something like that from Europe, but obviously Europe was all locked down, so it was a nightmare for him. And then I seen Reece McGee had been signed, and I'm good. Me and Reece had spoken periodically through the years, but like we always kept quite distance between us, mainly because like I don't want to be friends with someone I'm probably gonna have to fight, and I knew if he won the low welterweight title, he was gonna come back down and try and fight for the lightweight title. So like that's what he wanted to do. So I seen that he got signed. I dropped him a message, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I was meant to be fighting Adam Proctor for the welterweight title." And I was like, I fight Adam. So I rang my manager and was like, I want to fight Adam Proctor for the welterweight title, and he just laughed. And I'd already texted the matchmaker for Cage Warriors as well, and he was like, "Mate, he's like, that's not a good fight for you, blah blah blah." And I was like, "I don't care, I want the fight." And my manager was like, "Are you sure?" He's like, I was like, "Yeah." I was like, I'll smash him. I was like, "I'll do him in 1 round." And they were laughing, and they were like, "He's a big boy, man." I was like, "I'll smash him in one round." And then they gave me the fight. Adam must have jumped at the chance, and like he was 6'3", I don't know, 90, I think he was 92, 93 kilos by the time he fought, whereas I was 5'10" at 79, because for some reason my weight won't go over 79 kilos, so he had a good 12, 15 kilo weight difference on me, and a good couple of inches, and I knocked him out in 1 round. So yeah, that was sort of, like I said, after that fight, I said, I'm done with Cage Warriors. I want to sign. Graham said, you've done enough to get signed. He said, I'll get you in. And he did. And then obviously I fucked my debut up. Lost the decision to Mike Davis, 29-28. Like I had problems going on with different things, but I just didn't do enough. Made a lot of mistakes. Won the stats, but they said that I didn't win on the damage front. So there was something I've learned where I need to improve. And then obviously my second fight, I was like, no matter what happens, I just need to make sure I get that win. I 10-8 in the first round, nearly finished in the first round. Come out the second round, was like, look, I'm going to finish him in this round. Put the pressure on. was all over him, was looking like I was definitely going to get the finish. I just needed to change some combos up. And then accidentally poked him in the eye, which even though I did poke him in the eye, like it didn't actually go in his eye, it went more in his eyelid. And he was just done. He sat straight down, was like, nah, blurry, can't see, blurry, done, blurry. And what pissed me off more about that is by the time we got back to the medical room, him and his corner was celebrating on the way back. They were celebrating.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 fights in UFC and no wins. It doesn't look good, man. So I need
so, I've got, mate, that's some fucking journey. Like I've got tons, and I appreciate you've got to go training in a bit, so we can't probably get everything out today. So I'd love to have you back at some point in a year's time, 6, whatever. Like, you know, we'll worry about that then. I've got so many questions though. Like, you know, as a young man coming through that Cage Warriors, and you've picked up a title, then picked up a second title. Like, what's the mindset like when you've won? And like, you know, when you step in the octagon, do you just see violence? Like,
No.
What's your mindset? So what's your mindset then just before the bell goes? And then what's your mindset once you've picked up the titles? Do you appreciate it, or is it tunnel vision? What's the next goal?
I always get quite, I always have quite a bit of emotional dump after fights, whereas sort of like, I'm really heavy critical on myself. Like I always try and improve. So as soon as we get back, I'm talking about different things in the fights, and like I'm like, oh, I didn't do this well, I didn't do this well. And they're like, look, you just won in 3.5 minutes. So like, yeah, but he caught me with this, and I couldn't. And they're like, look, just enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? You just won 2 titles. It was like, doesn't matter. So it took me a long time to sort of enjoy the wins, and because I was always focusing on what's next. Like I've always referred to it like a snowball rolling downhill. Like you've got a big snowball rolling downhill. The more snow you gain, the faster the ball has to roll. Otherwise, you're going to fall apart. And that's the way I've always looked at it. And like the way I take it in the UFC now, like I have to work harder now than I ever did, and I have to be better than I ever was. And the only way to do that is to be better, is to just be better. And that's the way I look at it. But me, I've always loved violence. Like my girlfriend is a martial artist. Different people do it for different reasons. I do it purely for violence. Like I go in there purely to hurt people. Like I ain't in there for the victories. I ain't in there for anything. I'm in there for the violence. Like that's what I love doing. I love the violence. So for me, like I love the walk. I love the weight cut. I love recovering from the weight cut. I love the feeling when you're waiting and warming up. I love the feeling when you're stood in the cage and waiting for your opponent to come in. I hate the feeling when they're announcing you. That's the only part of the fight I hate, is when they're announcing you, because that takes too long. And I just adore fighting. I love the violence to it, and I love dominating people, because like that's what I want to do. I've never wanted to just to beat people. I've always wanted just to tear people apart and to prove I'm better in everything. Yeah.
Do you think though, as you get older, you'll come up against more experienced and wily fighters where that aggression and violence won't always work, and you've got to be a bit clever and smart as well, which you've obviously done through your Cage Warriors careers, but now you've had a couple of setbacks. And I say setbacks, that first loss, do you know that first loss? I was really impressed with, and I'm a nobody, like my opinion counts for fuck all, but I was really impressed with the way you spoke after that first loss, because it's so easy to get hyped up in the emotion of your first UFC fight. It was Fight Island, it was COVID, it was your debut. Obviously, you a narrow loss, your face looked like it did, but the way you spoke afterwards, I was really impressed with. That was like an old man's head on a young guy's shoulders, if that makes sense.
There's no excuses for losing a fight. Like it's a thing. I hate it when people make excuses, and for me, there was no excuses. Like I had a load of messages afterwards saying, "Oh, we had you down as winning." I know like a lot of the scorecards from a home had me as winning, different things, but I didn't. Like all that matters is what they put down, and I lost 29-28 on a 3 scorecard. So like I didn't do enough. I knew I didn't do enough. I knew I should have done more. Yeah, it is what it is. Like that was my one and only loss. Obviously, the last fight I had was no contest, which I should have won 18 seconds more, and they would have given me the fight, because I 10-9 in the first, and then the second round was basically a 10-7. Like I battered him, do anything. So it is what it is. But he managed to find his exit, his way out, and he took a good win from me. So it did irritate me, but it is what it is. I'm just gonna rebuild and look to go again and get it right. But yeah, like I've been doing this a long time. Like I never fight with aggression. I always make sure I'm clinical when I fight, and like we plan and pre-program game plans for every sort of situation that's going to happen, and
Yeah.
like the amount of prep that goes into a fight is unreal. Like we work out what they're going to do, we work out what we're going to do, and we work out what we're doing that's going to counteract what they're going to do. Like it's chess, mental chess.
Yeah, definitely. It's fascinating. It's genuinely fascinating, like how honest you've been about it all as well. Like, I'm excited to see where it's going to go because, like, I watched all your highlights last night for about 2 hours. I just sat watching different fights and stuff like that, and it just like it fascinated me how you just walk these boys down, but you still like you can see you're thinking about stuff and you know what you're doing. And you're just waiting for the catch, like whatever, take them down. And then to like have all that pent up because it is aggression and adrenaline and whatever, then to come out and just be so calm and level headed, like I find that fascinating that people can be like that.
Psychopath. You've got to be a psychopath in this sport.
You must be because I've like who steps in a fucking ring? Like boxing's one thing, right? And it's physically demanding, hard on the lungs, and it's fucking clever and it's tough, right? To then throw in knees, elbows, grappling. The one guy I saw I think it was a Cage Warriors one, and his arm was behind his back somewhere. And
I don't know how he didn't snap. I was trying to snap.
Mate, that's what I thought. I had to turn away. I thought it was going to go. But like the fact that you can do that in a ring and then be so concise and clear in the way you're talking now and so calculated, I find fascinating, man.
It's not personal. That's the thing. It's like I never see anything as personal. I just I hate everyone equally.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like it is what it is. Like I'm in the one thing, they're in the another, and whoever's better is going to win. And like that's why I like fighting so much. And it's the chaos. I love the chaos. Like there's no feeling like that's what it is. It's embracing the chaos. And like it's so hard to explain to people who hasn't done it before. But like for you, because you've had a white collar fight, that uncertainty when you're in there where you're trying to think about what you're gonna do and trying to think of what they're gonna do, and then you're just sort of, I love that feeling. Like that's what gets me riled up inside. That's what I meant to do. And like for me, fighting, like I can beat any person on the planet. Like I'm the best fighter in the world. I can beat anyone in any area. I can beat them. It just all that matters is proving that statement is true. And like obviously I had that loss, which is a setback, but like that was when I didn't perform. I performed about 40%, and I still took to a decision, and it was still an uncertainty there. And like he performed, I didn't. So you wait to see what I'm like when I perform. And like my last fight was me performing, and I was still only performing at 40%. I had another couple of gears to push through, but we was making sure that we was controlled and that I was reserved in what I did. I didn't rush the finish. And like I was just about to start chaining my combos, about to really line rip, and obviously he found a way out. So it is what it is. The next one is going to be a masterpiece.
So I know you've got to go training, pal. So I do appreciate your time, mate. What's the future then? Go on. What's the future, pal? What's coming up next? Just so we can obviously stay in touch and everyone can see what you're up to.
So I'm going to be fighting in a couple of weeks. I'm looking for August, September time. And so when that comes up, I haven't signed anything. I haven't heard anything. Nothing's been confirmed yet. So when I hear and it gets signed, I'm aiming for a date now. But at the moment, there's no place on that card for me. But I'm still pushing for it. So they're hoping they'll be able to squeeze me on. I'll fight that. Then I'll have a little break. My coaches want to do a bigger strength block, and they want to slow things down and rebuild a few things. So after that, I'll take 10 weeks rebuilding, and then I'll do a 4 or 5 week camp and fight again. So I'm hoping to fight sometime in probably September, and then probably sometime in January, then sometime December or January, probably January. So get one more out before the end of the year, and then push again for January. Probably.
That's mate, love that. Hey, look, I've got so many questions, but I'd love to have you on again at some point, maybe in the new year or whatever, pal.
Definitely.
Where can people find you on socials, mate? Because I know you've got your YouTube stuff that you do a lot of stuff as well, don't you?
Yeah, that's getting better as we go. We've got a little bit of problems at the moment where my the guy who does my editing for me is moving house, so he's struggling with his Wi-Fi is not set up at the moment, so I'm a little bit behind. But yeah, my YouTube is there, Mason Jones MMA. Then my Instagram, Mason Jones 95. Look for the guy with the 2 belts above his head. And then I've got a Facebook page and my Twitter. Twitter I'm not that active on. I mean, you just go on there to stalk people and look at some funny tweets and stuff. But yeah, if you drop me a message, I will get back to you. Instagram's probably the best to get hold of me. Most of the time. I've got a ridiculous amount of messages at the moment where I'm trying to sort through and I just can't be asked to read through them. I think I got like there's about 400 or 500 unread messages on my Instagram.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Right, but yeah, thanks for having me on. Like I said, I need to eat breakfast.
You go on, boy. Hey, thank you so much. Good luck with this mini camp, mate, and we'll catch up soon, all right?
Thank you. See you soon.
Top fucking bloke. Ta-ra, boy. Ta-ra.
See you, boss. Bye.